Hey y'all, it's Danielle, the coach here, and I have a treat for this particular stream. I have a testimonial interview that I will be conducting today with Lamont Wayne. Let me see why your name. There you go. Um, I had the pleasure of being invited to speak to a group that he leads, and there were some takeaways and some feedback that I received that was really positive, and so I wanted to come and share. I wanted him to come and share what his experience was, and also kind of like shed light on ways that I serve my clients in different communities and different spaces that I take up, right? So I don't want to give it all the way on the front end. So I'll have Lamont introduce himself, and then I got a bunch of different questions that I want to ask him, just kind of like share how we even got here. So Lamont, welcome. Can you do me a favor and just share a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Danielle, the coach. Hi, everybody watching. So my name is Lamont Wayne, born and raised in Kinston, North Carolina. Great city, great state. I am a licensed minister, a reverend, a preacher, and I lead the young adult ministry here at our church at Gethsemane Baptist Church. And I've known Danielle, the coach. I met her a few years ago, and she always comes on our. We do this thing called Real Talk Mondays on Monday evenings at 7, where we just get up there on Zoom as young adults and just have real life conversations. And every time Danielle comes, she always says something that everyone is just like, yo, like, whoa, like, what did you just say? Could you say that again? And so she's just been an awesome asset. She's just been awesome all around towards our group, towards the ministry. She's just a great coach, great person. But that's a little bit about me.
Appreciate it, appreciate it. So what motivated you to invite me to speak to the group in like a formal capacity, right?
In a formal excuse me, in a formal capacity, just very easy answer to that question. Again, just the nuggets that you would share on our weekly calls. And so I'm a huge sports fan, and the month of March is March Madness in college basketball. And I immediately had a thought of getting coaches for the entire month of March. I was like, we need some coaching. Let's do a spin on March Madness. And the first coach I thought of was Danielle, the coach. And it just kind of went from there. And I invited her formally to come speak to the group. And boy, did she ever speak to the group.
Yes, I'm so honored and thankful. One, to be seen, to be invited, all of those things, right? So so interestingly enough, so there's got to be a lot of trust that's at play here because you invited me to speak, but you didn't give me any kind of frame like about or a box to kind of stay within when I came to speak. And so we'll talk about what I shared in a few, but thinking about it from that point of view, knowing like, hey, I
Right.
just invited her to come. I've seen her, I've seen how she showed up in the group. I want her to speak. That being said, what was your expectation of me facilitating prior to the day that we actually all met?
So the expectations were, I knew you were going to be awesome. I had kind of threw it out there to teach us whatever the Lord placed on your heart.
Hmm.
I knew it was going to be good. I didn't know which way you were going to take us, where you were going to take us, but it was just awesome. And it was everything I expected. It was everything the leadership team expected. It was just an amazing presentation.
Got it. Thank you. So it's one thing for me, to be invited to speak to the group, another thing for me to show up and kind of go in my coaching bag. But I do want to acknowledge um, kind of like the point guard vision, since we're in the theme of March Madness, right?
Right.
Of you, for you to have to even set up a whole month's worth of interaction and engagement with various coaches to talk about various things, right? With the young adult ministry at Gethsemane. And so for me, it definitely was. I remember telling you at the end of the evening, like, man, I didn't think about this or this. That's how you can tell my heart was in it, right? This is,
Right.
I just wanted to serve.
Right.
But when I began speaking to the group, one of the things that I shared, I kind of gave the backstory as to how I got to where I am in being a coach. And I'm most known for helping people or entrepreneurs quit their 9 to 5 without regret. I
Right.
definitely made a disclaimer that I'm not telling anybody in this setting to quit their job, right, haphazardly. But
Yes.
there are different tools that I use with my clients and supporting them in that way, that at least one tool that I felt would be useful for the group, right? So
Yes.
I definitely went into my coaching bag, and shared a little something, and the feedback was resoundingly positive from the group. But I definitely wanted to take a minute to have at least one voice,
Hmm.
just to share, even if how you were impacted, but then also if there was any other feedback that you got. And so we'll kind of get to some of that as well. But I just want to bring everybody else up to speed
Right.
to, like, not only how we got here, but like what happened next. So we're gonna kind of start with the end and kind of bring it back.
Hmm.
So when we were closing out, right after I
Yes.
shared, went over time, people were asking
Right.
questions. There was a lot of engagement, which any speaker like loves to have, right? So it was a beautiful experience for me, and I love to see that people were leaning in and wanting to know more, or having aha moments, all of the things, right? Wanting other people to get some of what they got that night in our conversation.
Hmm.
But there was one thing that you said as I finished, and I kind of turned the floor back over to you, and you mentioned being speechless. What was that about?
Yeah. So just the overall presentation, it was so amazing. There was so much information shared, practical information, what that I didn't want to screw it up. I just didn't want to mess up. I didn't want to say anything to mess up what you had done. It became a ministry moment. In particular, the flight assessment. What made me speechless was I was thinking, I don't know if I've taken like that deep of a look inside
Hmm.
in a long time, where you challenged us to go within.
Hmm.
And it was just awesome. And so it just left me kind of like, did that just happen? Like, wow, what just happened? You know, and a lot to digest there. And
Yeah.
again, I was speechless because I just didn't want to mess it up.
Got it. Got it. Hey y'all, if you're joining us live, some names I may be able to see, some names I can't, but if you're here live, do us a favor and say hey, right? So one of the things that I also appreciate about your foresight and your vision, and having the theme of like March Madness and bringing coaches in, is because I am a personal champion and advocate of expanding awareness of coaching in our community. Right. I tell people all the time, I think we got therapy on lock. It's a household term now, right? We probably use it
Mhm.
ad nauseum and sometimes use it incorrectly, but it's no longer a foreign concept or even something that is taboo in our community anymore. But coaching, on the other hand, I won't say that it's taboo. I just don't think that there is widespread awareness of the art form, of the resource,
Mhm. Mhm.
as a viable option to some of the resistance that life may present us, some of the hurdles that life may present us, and some of the ways that we get in our own way, right? And so, from my vantage point and from what I've heard from others in the community, is that, oh well, there's trauma this, trauma that, maybe I need to go to therapy, or if it's not trauma involved, then there's nothing for me to do. I just got to figure it out. Like, I just got to wait it out, figure it out, tough it out. I can't really talk to anybody else about it. They don't understand me wanting to do something different with my life, wanted to change, wanted to give up some old ways to experience things that I've never experienced before. So I just got to figure it out, right? But you don't just have to figure it out. Like, coaching is a viable resource. And so I am on a mission to spread the gospel, pun intended, of coaching, especially in our community, because, and as a life coach, I know it can be life changing. As someone who has hired and work with life coaches myself. Um, that was like the impetus of me getting into this space and doing this now full time. But then also seeing the impact that it has on others as well. Like it's so important and so valuable. So hats off to you for creating this space and making the invitations to make coaching a household term in in the community. I really
Thank you.
respect that.
Thank you.
So personally speaking, how did the information that I shared impact you?
Again, just the flight assessment, to the deep dive inside Lamont
Mhm.
in just over an hour. It was just amazing. And like you said, coaching, just to hear that, you know what, you can leave that job if you want to. I can help you get where you want to go. And just the practicality of what you were sharing, it served as a reminder, or maybe, like the aha moment, like a light bulb, like, you know what, I never thought that I could. There's another
Mhm.
way.
Yeah,
She's sharing things that can be done. She's sharing practical information. She's coaching us to another way of thinking. And
yeah,
so that was just so impactful for me, because sometimes life is like Groundhog Day, the same thing every single day. So it was just awesome to hear a coach,
yeah,
someone as accomplished as you, uh, to come in and say, "Hey, listen, there's another way. Let me help you."
yeah, yeah. And so Lamont has referenced the flight assessment a couple of times, and that is one of the tools that I use with every single one of my clients. I live by it. It's like a non-negotiable if I am your coach. And what I love about the assessment is that it helps you to not only become more self-aware, but the work starts with you, right? But it also impacts your relationships personally and professionally. And it impacts how you see yourself, right? It helps shine a light on your unique individual superpowers, your strengths, as well as your blind spots, which is most times where we get tripped up when we aren't aware of what our limitations might be, or if we are busy trying to flex in spaces using um, or in ways that don't align with our innate God-given strengths, right? So it's just like you're working extra hard over there because that's not your lane, right? Get somebody else to do it, as they're saying now. Um, and so that's something that I felt would be helpful to share with the group or to introduce to the group who are most if not all are gainfully employed, active in ministry in the church, um, have families. Some have families of their own or are family members themselves, and just are required to come in and just be an upstanding citizen, right? To understand yourself, and when you understand who you are, you know who you're not, and who you are not is often who someone else is, and it offers a level of grace that I don't think that there's enough of that going around in society. Period. But not just grace with other people, but also grace with ourselves and how we're showing up or how we're not showing up, right? But then offering opportunities for growth and personal and professional development. And so, like I shared with the group on that particular Monday, there's so many layers to it, to the assessment and what the results and the data tells you, can tell you about yourself, including authenticity. And we live in a space, in a world and a time where there are lots of call them bobbleheads, like yes men and yes women, and people don't have the confidence to stand in who they are in their voice, even if it's different from the masses. And just knowing, as a Christian, how we're made, right? We're uniquely made, like in his image. And so he didn't make a mistake when he made us. And so if you can step into the realm of authenticity and want to be clear about who you are, but then step out into the world confidently, like that is where you begin to operate in purpose. And that was actually what I led with before introducing the assessment. We talked about purpose, which is another thing that I'm super passionate about in the work that I do, the work that I do personally. Like this is purpose work but I also strive to help others get clarity about what their individual purpose is and align with it. Because what I know is that that is where the magic happens, and where people begin to free themselves from the status quo, other people's opinions, but then also step into realms of possibility that they never even saw coming. That was a real long tangent, but I felt like I had to say that. That being said, did you receive any feedback from any of the attendees? And if so, what did they share?
I did. So every attendee absolutely enjoyed it. Every attendee needed, I'm going to say needed that conversation on
Mhm.
purpose, that reminder. I liken this entire month of coaching to, you know how, let me use a sports analogy. Everyone wants to shoot the ball from half court. Everyone
Mhm.
wants to dunk the basketball. But Michael Jordan dominated the game with fundamentals, just footwork, pump fakes, two dribble layups, and those tools of focusing on our purpose,
Mhm.
probing into who we are, getting to know who we are. I mean, it was just awesome. And so some of the feedback was along those lines. And there were even some saying that they wanted to bring you in to speak to their staff. They said the staff needs this. It would help them flow better together. So it was just an awesome moment of coaching.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. What would you say to someone who either hasn't considered inviting me to speak to their team or their group, or maybe they have thought about it, but they've been kind of going back and forth about it. They've been straddling the fence.
Khaled has a saying. We know him as DJ Khaled. He says, "Don't play yourself." That's what I would say. Invite this young lady to your team, to your group, whatever you have. If you need some one-on-one coaching, get this young lady on the phone, get her via Zoom, get her whatever way you can,
Yeah,
because it was just absolutely amazing. I want another session. I just have to be honest. It was just that amazing. Just when I was thinking about this, what had blown me away as someone who preaches, as someone who speaks, and I sermon prepare messages, just the masterful delivery, the skill, the patience. Even during the session, you asked one of the young ladies, "Can I coach you for a minute? Can I coach you real quick?" And just gave it to her right there, coach her up a little bit. And so, as a speaker myself, it was just awesome, the way you did that, the organization, everything was just amazing.
got it. Thank you. All right. So as we wrap this, right, what's one word that you would use to sum up the experience that I created for the group?
It was, excuse me, it was awesome. It was awesome. We want seconds, thirds, fourths, because it was so much to digest.
Yeah.
There was so much more. I could see it. There was so much more, but we had to wrap up for time.
I know. And you did
Mhm.
let me go over a little bit. So, but I don't think anybody was mad. So that's all that matters. That's all that
Right.
matters to me. And so why I wanted to have Lamont come on and share is because I'm not sure that people consider having me come in and speak to their team or their group, right? But there is a possibility, right? And I wanted them to hear it from you, like what you were thinking of going into it, how you even made this possible, what led you to even make the invitation as a leader of a team, of a group, of a ministry, the impact it had on not only the group but you individually, but also just showing what's possible for others who may lead teams, lead ministries, lead groups. And it could be any kind of team, an athletic team, a professional corporate team, what have you. This checks many and plenty boxes. And so if you are someone who have been looking for something different to do or to offer to your team or your group, it could be adults, it could be youth, you name it. Um, the shoe fits. I have ways to adapt this particular um, we'll call it training for lack of a better. I call it a workshop. I prefer a workshop because it is interactive. There, you do got to roll up your sleeves a little bit, and we have a little bit of fun, like shining a spotlight on you, and also how the individuals matter to the whole, and how the individuals can work together in one accord for whatever the greater mission is. But it's all in the name of the collective, right? We're better together. And so if we know who we are, we know where we fit, we know what gaps we have, and then it makes it easier to make informed decisions, to fill them, and go a lot further, a lot quicker, and a lot easier. So Lamont, thank you for your time. I value it so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Coach.
seeing me.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for inviting me and allowing me to have the ear of the group. I am forever grateful. And if you are looking to, you have any interest in bringing me in on virtually or in person, um, you can go to email me at dg@daniellethecoach.com for more information, and I'll be happy to send it your way. All right, that's all we got. Lamont, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Coach. Thank
You're,
you.
you're so welcome. All right, y'all. I'll see y'all next time.